Hi there, everybody. My name is Ben Stapley, and my desire is to help you create and capture moving and memorable moments. Today, I want to give you 8 suggestions to write captivating announcements for a church service. Every organization needs to announce their activities. So whether you work in a church, nonprofit, or business, these suggestions will apply to you. Every Sunday, churches call their congregations to incredible opportunities of service and growth through the announcements. Sometimes these opportunities aren't fully utilized because the announcements were poorly written. Here are some suggestions to help educate and equip your congregation to make an internal impact by writing captivating announcements. Step 1. Write for a presenter, not a reader. Most people intuitively write their thoughts for how someone will read them instead of how someone will hear them. If people were going to hear your thoughts, you probably wouldn't take the time to write them down. You would just say them. One of the best techniques for presentation writing is reading your copy out loud. When a phrase sounds clunky or when your tongue trips over the words because there are too many, you've found something you need to fix. If your announcement is written out of a bulletin, then you really need to take this suggestion to heart, because it can be easy and tempting to use the copy from your bulletin for your stage. But the way you communicate on stage needs to dramatically differ from the way you communicate from the page. Step 2 should be 2 150 words or 3 125-word announcements. If you have 2 announcements, then keep the word count at 150. If you have 3, then cut it down to 125. This rule is for those giving the content, not for those getting it. Unless your presenter has a photographic memory, they can only memorize so much before the info starts to leak out of their ears. 125 to 150 words is long enough to express what is needed, but short enough to be presented instead of read. You'll notice that I didn't give the options for 4 or 1 announcements. That's because 4 are too many and 1 is too few. With 4, people get confused by all the options. They won't remember the particular details because they were just hit by a water hose of info. With only 1, people don't have enough options for participation. That is because there aren't many announcements that cast a church-wide net and call everyone to action. So aim for 2 150 words or 3 125-word announcements. 3. Write for someone new. Write with a particular friend who has never been to your church in mind. A key question to ask is, would your friend understand everything that is being said? If not, then you have some editing to do. I keep a photo of this friend on my desk. Before I start writing announcements, I take a glance at them. This helps me remember to write for someone new. This in turn will help them fully understand what is being communicated and not be left out of the loop. An application of writing for someone new is avoiding abbreviations. Unless you were raised in a church, you don't know that VBS stands for Vacation Bible School, so avoid abbreviations. Implementing this principle is vital to connecting and communicating with unchurched folks. Step 4, explain the vision or value. We all know the 5 W's of writing a good story or announcement: who, where, when, why, and what. Most announcements contain the first 4 W's but forget the last one. They forget the why by omitting the vision or value of the announcement. It is just as important to know what you are doing as to why you are doing it. When you explain the vision or value, it dramatically increases participation. There's a group of people who will do something without knowing why they're doing it, but it is a small group. Once you describe the vision or value of the announcement, that group will grow from small to large. Stating the reason people should participate compels them to take action. Step 5, avoid churchy language. You should try to avoid churchy language or religious terms. If there is a word that church and unchurched folks both understand, then use that word. Sometimes religious words like repentance, salvation, gospel, etc. need to be used, but those times should be during the message, when the meaning can be unpacked, and not during the announcements. A good rule of thumb to use is this: if you wouldn't use a word over the fence with your neighbor, then you shouldn't use it on stage with your audience. Avoid churchy language and religious terms in your announcements. Step 6, clarity should supersede creativity. This might disappoint the wordsmiths out there, but if you want people to understand and act upon your announcements, then you're going to have to check some of your style and flavor at the door. Remember, this is an announcement, not creative writing class. Eliminating unnecessary and complicated content will also help you achieve clarity. Too much information can be just as dangerous as not enough. I think it was Benjamin Franklin who said this: "If I had more time, I would have written a shorter letter." Take the time and write a shorter and clearer announcement. Step 7. State an action step. The main purpose of an announcement is to get someone to respond, so stating the action step is a must. This can seem like a no-brainer, but sometimes it gets lost in the process, and it should be just an action step, not action steps. There will be additional action steps in the process, but stating them now from the stage will only confuse people and disincentivize them from participating. Let people know the one thing they need to do to get the process started, and make sure to state and restate that process at the beginning. You want to give people multiple chances to remember what they need to do next. Step 8. Change the name. Instead of calling them announcements, call them opportunities. I made this shift a number of years ago with a church, and it was a game changer for us. It changed the way we communicated. Our writing used to be boring, need-based, and insider-focused. Changing the name from announcements to opportunities helped us write in a way that was exciting, action-oriented, and outsider-focused. Changing what we called it changed how we thought about it. This, in turn, changed the way we did ministry. Changing the language helped us narrow our focus and allowed us to step up from the good to pursue the great. If we couldn't call something an opportunity for the church to fulfill its mission, then we didn't do it. So those are my 8 suggestions to writing captivating announcements. Send an email to benstapley@gmail.com and let me know what suggestions I missed. I would love to hear from you and learn from you. I would also love to connect on social media, so look me up. In the end, we want folks to lean forward during the announcement package. We want them to put down their phones and pick up their ears. Hopefully, these suggestions will help the writers at your church hone their craft. And hopefully, your folks will have a clear understanding about how the church is accomplishing its vision and how they can be a part of that.